Good morning, Jess.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm really good. Really enjoying catching up with some apprentices who I taught many years ago, and a couple who are currently studying for an apprenticeship, which obviously includes yourself.
hmm
So, before we get sort of into that, tell us a little bit about the company you work for.
So I work for Callaway Golf Europe, and they are a global company that are predominantly within the US. But then we also have regions outside of the US. So Callaway Golf Europe is one of those regions. And we're based in England and we sit in Chessington, which is our main head office. And then we have the Super Hub, which is where I work, and that's based in Swindon. And what we do is we produce golf clubs. We also do custom golf balls, as in the golf balls come to us and we put logos on them that are customized to what the customer's request is. We also do that for UV gloves. We do embroidery as well. So embroidery could be on um, um, hats, beanies. It could also be on towels, golf towels. And we also do some pockets for the golf bags as well. And then we also have our distribution centre that falls within the Super Hub, and that's where we send all of our finished goods out from as well. So it's not a massive organisation at the Super Hub, but it's a medium-sized organisation here, is what I would say. And I've been here for it'll be 2 years in June.
Thank you, Jess. Now, depending on the type of apprenticeship, it might attract people who are at the beginning of their careers. So we see that quite often with, say, the business administration apprenticeship. Team leader apprenticeship, a little bit different, and very often, not always, but used to upskill the workforce. So, how did you come to be studying for a team leader apprenticeship?
So, I've been in a leadership role for around the last 10 years. And as part of that, I've done a lot of internal courses in my previous company, and they were things around coaching, how to do performance reviews and stuff like that. But none of that actually led to a formal qualification. And when I joined Callaway, they were talking about offering to do the apprenticeship courses around team leaders. And so I saw it as a chance for me to actually gain a recognised qualification while also still working. Because for me, I'm not somebody that learns best from reading stuff, and I'm certainly not somebody that learns best by seeing. I'm very much a doer. So for me, this was going to go with my strengths fundamentally, that it was going to help me to learn whilst also doing the role that I was currently doing as well. And for me, it just felt like it was the right step to just validate my experience. I like to develop myself anyway, both professionally and personally. So it was kind of like going to help me to also develop my skills a little bit more as well.
Thank you. So, your endpoint assessment is in sight now, not long to
Mm-hmm.
go. What do you think has been the biggest learning to date as a result of doing this apprenticeship?
So for me, it's definitely my confidence. So it's my confidence in my leadership. I'm not actually a very confident person, and lots of people that I work with, they often say to me, "Oh no, you are really confident." I'm like, I know I can put on a show and pretend that I'm confident, but I'm not at all confident in any way, shape, or form. And this course has actually helped me to recognise that there's lots of things that I was already doing instinctively that are really good leadership practices. And it's just reminded me that I am a good leader. And also, it's not about me knowing everything, it's about me being open to feedback, to learn continuously, both professionally and personally, and to also support the people around me, not just my team, but also the stakeholders that I work with as well. And I'm very much somebody that actively seeks feedback and I use it to improve myself. And the apprenticeship has just reinforced the importance of that mindset as well. And it's also helped me to change some of my habits outside of work. So I've started reading non-fiction books. And anyone that knows me, I do love reading books, but they have to be fiction. And a murder mystery is my forte. But being part of this course, I've actually ventured out, started reading non-fiction, and we also had a book club as part of the apprenticeship as well. And that was what really pushed me down that route. And I've absolutely loved reading the books. So we read Leaders Eat Last, and I also done the Song of Significance as well. And I also started listening to podcasts. I've never listened to a podcast before in my life. And so it just got me to do things differently as well. So I listened to Mal Robbins around difficult conversations. So it's really helped me to broaden my perspectives. It's helped me to think differently about how I communicate and influence people. So for me, it's just there's lots of big learnings. You're never too old to learn.
Well, you know that I'll agree with that statement. Thank you, Jess. Now, doing the team leader apprenticeship, given that most people are already in these roles, or it's very common for people to be in these roles, and that means that they have a demanding day job. What do you think perhaps that is the biggest challenge to taking on something like a team leader apprenticeship?
It's the biggest challenge is to make sure you give yourself the time. So for our particular apprenticeship course, we were told that it was a minimum of 6 hours a week. And we would do 1 week at college, and then the next week it would be kind of like off the job studying. And if you get into bad habits early on and you don't give yourself the time, then you will quite quickly fall behind. So it's about having an open and honest conversation with your work manager as well, to make sure that they are aware that you have to be doing this. And I was quite lucky in the sense of my leadership team here were really behind me doing well on this course. So there are some weeks that the 6 hours wasn't enough and I needed to do some more. And my manager, if I kept him informed, he was like, absolutely do what you need to do. So if it took me 8 hours, then it took me 8 hours. But the one thing that I would also say as well is that I'm very good at time management and prioritization. So even though I was doing this course and it has taken time away from my work to do that, I've also made sure that everything that I needed to do for work, I was absolutely doing. So I made sure that I blocked my calendar out when it was a college day, so nobody could come in and book meetings on that day. And I was very upfront with my team as well, and they were really good. I would say to them, today is a college day, and they'd say, yeah, we won't leave, we won't come to you. And they would go to my other peers instead of coming directly to me. They would only come to me if it was absolutely necessary. And I think that might have happened once. But for me, it's about being honest with your manager to say, I might need more this week, but next week I might need a little bit less. But it's also about making sure that you also give your work still the time that you need to, because you're going to need to do your skills, but also the knowledge side of it, make sure you give yourself the time to embed that knowledge as well.
It's all great advice. We learned the college aspect was on campus, face to face. In your opinion, would it have worked as well if we were doing the college element online? Maybe more of a bit of a self-directed learning, and your reasons behind your thoughts.
So for me personally, I preferred going on to site and getting away from work because I'm very good at being in a meeting and not being distracted. So if I'm learning something, I will be there. I will turn my notifications off. I won't be distracted. But I do know that some people can't do that. And if they see a message to say you've got an email, they'll go and look at that when actually they're supposed to be learning. So for me, actually being away from my work environment, from my laptop as well, that was the best thing for me because it meant that I was focused. I could actually listen to what was being said. I could take on board. I am naturally a reflector as well. So sometimes when I learn stuff in college, I then have to go away the next day and reflect on that a little bit in my workplace. But by me being on site, it just meant that I could just focus on that day, what was being said, doing my learning, and not actually think about work in particular. Whereas I think if I was doing it on a laptop, like I said, I could be quite easily distracted. And also, if I was at work doing it, who's to say that people won't then just come to my desk and try talking to me, even though I'm trying to do stuff online?
Thank you. And in our last minute or so, I introduced the cohort to something called the thinking environment. And I'd like you to share your experience and thoughts about the thinking environment, please, Jess.
Yeah. So the thinking environment was one of those things that I'd learned that I didn't know anything about. I'd never heard about it before. And it just made you see things a little bit differently. And it was a really good thing to like think about bringing into my own team meetings, to make sure that everybody had a voice as well and that everybody was listened to. And it was a strange concept to start with. And it was also at the start trying to listen to what the person was saying instead of thinking, okay, how am I going to answer this when it gets to my round? So that took a lot of times to trial it. But what I did is because I really loved how it went at college, I decided to take that into my workplace and to trial it in my workplace with my team and also a team that we work very closely with. And it worked really well. I will say that there were some people that were a little bit apprehensive about it, and the final question was like, "How was you feeling?" And so I think one of the answers was that like a little bit strange, like in the sense of they weren't too sure what they got out of this, um, and that's absolutely fine because people will see it differently as well, and as long as I can get somebody to then think about doing their own meetings that way, because I definitely have, in the sense of I want to make sure that my team feels psychologically safe. So, this is probably one of those things that you can bring into the workplace to help the people that are a little bit quieter, first of all, speak up. And it doesn't actually matter what you say in that in thinking environment, because once the session is closed down, it's closed down and it's put over there and it's not really revisited again. So it gives people a little bit more, that they can be a little bit more honest maybe than what they would be in other meetings, and maybe they would just trust the process a little bit better as well.
Thank you, Jess. That's all of my questions. I'm going to give the last word in about 30 seconds to you, Jess. anything else that you would, I mean, you're such, excuse me, you're such an advocate, an ambassador for apprenticeships. Anything else you would like to share?
I would just say to anybody that's thinking about it and thinking, oh, I'm too old or something like that, just go with it. I absolutely recommend it. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what you're experiencing. You could have been a leader for 20 years. You might have just gone into a team leader role, but you're never too experienced to learn anything new. You're never too late in your life to gain a qualification either. Just go in with it in an open mind. Be prepared to also hold a mirror up to yourself and reflect on your own style and behaviors as well. And the more you engage with it, by asking questions and then applying the tools that you learn and seeking feedback as well, the more you're going to get out of it. For me, it's not just about a certificate, it's about my own personal growth, renewing my confidence, and then also developing habits that I'll also continue after the course finishes.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciate you doing this.
Okay, I hope that was okay.